Hey guys, this is Luke. I'm going to be doing my reflection on my CE 300 class. For my reflection, I'm going to do some pros and cons and then what I would change about the class. For some pros that I liked about the class a lot would be the topics. It's very real world. It's not what I expected coming into it. When I first heard about the class, I heard business, I think economics, I think micro, macro, I think interest rate and stuff like that. And that's in there partly. There's some interesting use in that, but mostly it deals with real world topics like ethics. Huge thing that I liked. Pisces game, loved it. It's a bunch of topics that you normally don't go through in classes that you're going to have to deal with in the business world. Like you're going to have to make ethical decisions and you're going to have to think on the spot, and people are going to put you in tough situations. And if you haven't thought about that yet, you're not going to know how to do it, and you'll probably make a mistake, and that sucks. You don't want to do that. But I feel like from this class, I'm gonna be better about that. Another thing I liked that was real world was the presentations. I liked how some people didn't like it when he got in your face. He didn't really get in your face, I felt like, but some of the comments you weren't used to. You weren't used to a teacher or somebody that you would work with, like a boss that would just stop you mid presentation and say, "Nope, you're done," or what you're doing is stupid. I don't know why you're holding a computer. One of the kids was holding a computer, and just to bash on your presentation like that. That's not his play. But you're gonna have bosses like that are gonna do that, and it's great practice to have someone do that. Another thing I liked about the class is how it was very well planned out. At the very beginning, you can hop on CE 300 and you can see everything. You can see all the topics, all the videos on that, old blog posts from students that had already taken it and had thrown stuff on there for you to look at that you needed to know, and it was just information overload. Like you had everything you needed on there, and it was awesome. It was perfect. Cons, I didn't like the way that the class was broken up into three different websites. That was just annoying to me. You had Box, you had PritFizz, you had C300. You were having three tabs open automatically if you wanted to do the class. Like it was ridiculous. I didn't. You could look up what you wanted to do and what the project was on C300, but you couldn't post it there. You couldn't submit it there. You had to go to a different website to submit it there. Or maybe not everything was on C300, so you had to get that document from there, and then you had to go to Box to kind of get a secondary document to help you work with this one. And then you can't even post it to either one of those sites. You better open up a third one because that's where you're going to post it. Oh, and if you have questions about that, you got to go to Twitter because Twitter is where you get the discussion at. Um, but that's what I'm saying. Combining that into one website is what I would suggest. We'll talk about that later. But while we're on the subject of Twitter, I also didn't like that. Only because I like the idea of it, of getting people discussion. But it's very, very hard to discuss something when you're limited by 135 characters. I didn't like that because I asked a question and I had to put two tweets. It was like one tweet, then the other tweet below it, and then his reply. He couldn't even give me a tweet reply. He had to send me a video because he couldn't get it all. Dr. Seeger is who I'm talking about. Dr. Seeger had to send me a video to reply about my question because he didn't have enough room to type all that up. Last thing that I had a problem with would be the grades. I didn't know how well I was doing in the class. I knew what scores I was getting on some of the grades, but I didn't know how like everything was weighted. I didn't know what everything was important. Like I don't know about you guys, but like when I'm in a class, I kind of look like, hey, what's important? What do I need to do? And oh, you telling me this homework's only worth 5% of my grade? Oh, I don't think I'm gonna try too hard on it. Like I'll go through it and I'll get the concepts, but I'm not gonna put an effort into this test. Like I'm gonna put effort into the test that's worth 40%. That'd have been great. So things I would switch up is one, I would get rid of Twitter and those three websites, and I would combine them all into one to make it super easy. Some site that like CE300 has it all broken up like that, but in those breakup things you can discuss and not a limited discussion. I want like paragraphs, and I don't want like pages. I don't want someone to write me a page. I'm not going to read that. Obviously, you're not going to do that because no one's going to split the time. But combining all those into one site and then including on that site the grades would have just been perfect. This class would have been very nice. It would have been very smooth. Not to say that it wasn't. I enjoyed the class. I enjoyed the topics. It was great. But getting rid of all of those sites and confusion on that would be great. Just to bring it into one site, if that's even possible. I don't know if there's a site like that there. There's probably is. Technology's awesome. But I would do that, combine it in one site, and then I'd keep doing what you're doing, Dr. Steve, because class is pretty good, man. Yep.